The federal government is back open. Now what? Good morning, I'm Jake Sherman, and welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It is Thursday, November 13th, 2025. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, the federal government is back open. Now what? Number two, the next funding package is already hitting some snags. And number three, what Maxine Waters said about chairing the Financial Services Committee. Let's get into it. Happy Thursday, everybody. The government is finally open again. 43 long days, and the House voted last night, 222 to 209. It was actually a somewhat early vote, not early enough for me to make it to the GWAU game, which GW won by 40, so that's good. I mean, I didn't need to be there. Not that I ever need to be there, but anyway. The final vote was 220 to 209. There were 6 House Democrats who voted for the package. Let's talk about them. Henry Cuellar of Texas, who is a swing vote on a whole bunch of issues. He has an increasingly difficult district in South Texas. Marie Gluesenkamp Perez of Washington State. I want to talk about MGP for a second. She voted for the CR, and also before that, she brought a resolution to the House floor to disapprove of Chuy Garcia for basically installing his chief of staff as his successor in Chicago. This was a hugely controversial move in the middle of a government funding fight on the floor. Anyway, Don Davis of Eastern North Carolina. Mr. Davis has a tough seat as well. Tom Suozzi of New York, Long Island. That district is also quite difficult. It is the district that was held by George Santos before Suozzi, and Suozzi before George Santos. He voted for the bill. Adam Gray of California, also a swing seat, and Jared Golden of Maine, who has a swing seat, by the way, but is also retiring. 2 Republicans voted no. Tom Massey, who kind of votes against most Republican spending bills unless Kevin McCarthy's the speaker, and Greg Steube of Florida. Steube was incredibly angry about a provision that would allow senators, not members of the House, senators whose data has been subject to government surveillance, to sue. This was a provision that was put in the bill at the last minute by senators. Steube basically said that he couldn't vote for something with that language. Mike Johnson has vowed to, as we were kind of reporting on, I guess that would be Tuesday night during the House Rules Committee meeting, he wants to overturn that language, but the Senate's never going to take that up. 2 members didn't vote. Michael McCall of Texas, retiring Republican from the Austin area. Bonnie Watson-Coleman of New Jersey. Watson-Coleman had a medical problem, her office said, and McCall's office did not comment. Who won this fight? Nobody. It was a disaster from top up to bottom. It was bad for the country, bad for the economy, bad for Congress as an institution. It was bad for hundreds of thousands of federal workers, for law enforcement, for military service members, and closest to home, it was bad for a lot of you who are listening to the show. Legions of Hill aides and employees who had to work without getting paid. There were 2 competing visions about how this impasse would end. Democrats said that Trump would fold and he would negotiate on healthcare subsidies. He did not. Democrats folded a pan that was getting worse by the day, and it was a loser for them at the end of the day because people were hurting and Republicans weren't moving an inch. So where do we go from here? The House is and the Senate even, but the House more than anybody is behind the 8 ball. The committees have not met. There's tons of stuff for them to do. This is time that committees will never get back. They'll never get back. They've been unable to socialize policies with members. They've been unable to move bills. I don't know how they're going to catch up with less than a year until the midterm elections. They need to get things moving. The OBBB, One Big Beautiful Bill Act, is not the savior that I think a lot of Republicans hoped it would be. They need to move some other things on cost of living, on health care, and they're not going to be able to do anything until they get health care done. I know they want to get a highway bill done. They need to get a highway bill done. They want to get FEMA overhauled. They need the NDAA to pass by the end of the year. They have the appropriations process, which needs to be done in the next 78 days, but they need to get something done on healthcare. I don't think there's going to be much cooperation by Democrats. This is something that Democrats are vowing to stay in the fight on, and I would say it's a political imperative for a lot of Republicans to do something to cut back the cost of healthcare. We'll see. I mean, we've been skeptical. We're skeptical of everything. That's our job. I think that Republicans need to move quickly for 2 reasons. Number one, the discharge petition that, Democrats signed it won't hit 218 because Democrats filed discharge petition that is 3-year extension of healthcare subsidies, and no Republicans are going to sign that, but also they're going to want to get ahead of the Senate, I would assume. And the Senate's going to move a healthcare bill. Probably they're going to try to move a compromise bill by the end of December because John Thune has promised them a vote, and they don't want to get jammed on that front. We're going to talk about all of this with Tom Emmer, who is on flyout day today. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about healthcare. We're going to talk about the shutdown. He is the vote counter. He has a really good sense of where the conference is at all times. So tune into that. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Number 2 item of the morning, the federal government is open, but the next government funding bill, which needs to be done by January 30th, is already hitting a snag. The next minibus, they haven't decided on how they'll package the remaining bills, which is not a great sign for the January 30th deadline. The top Republican appropriators are on a combination of 5 2026 spending bills. The Senate teed up 4 bills. THUD, Defense, Labor, and Commerce, Justice, Science. Appropriations Chair Tom Cole wants to add Interior to that mix. CJS is incredibly complicated due to that provision that allows senators to sue. That's going to have to come out. This was something that Thune, as I said before, airdropped into the bill, or senators airdropped it into the bill, but it's quickly become a red line for House Republicans. No House Republicans going to vote for a bill with this thing in it, so they're going to have to figure out a way to get that out of there. They haven't settled on top line spending numbers, which is not a great thing. And, they have to figure out how much the bill's going to spend before they put these bills together. They are not going to want a CR. Mario Diaz-Balart told us it would not be acceptable for a year-long CR on those items. I mean, Mike Johnson has said that he wants more than anything to get the appropriations process back on track. He's close. It's been a big success for him, generally speaking, that there was a minibus this time around and that they're going to try to move big other appropriations bills in the coming months. That's something that Johnson said at the beginning of his speakership he wanted to do. Number 3 story of the morning, Maxine Waters, the 87-year-old chair of the House Financial Services Committee, says she wants to be chair of the Financial Services Committee for, quote, a lot more time. There's been a lot of questions about whether Waters is going to remain in that post in the financial services world. There's a movement, if you haven't noticed, for a youth movement, let's say, in the Democratic caucus to get people out of positions of power if they are in their upper 80s, because that is the way the world is heading. Maxine Waters said she wants to be in the post for a lot more time. That item and the full exchange is in the AM edition for Vol subscribers. Check it out. And with that, leave us a rating and review. You can subscribe to Punchbowl News at punchbowl.news. Have a great day and stay safe.